Hello, and you're watching the History Fella channel. And in this video we're looking at Harry S. Truman. Harry S. Truman was born on May the 8th, 1884 and would die on December the 26th, 1972. Truman was the 33rd President of the United States, serving from 1945 to 1953. A member of the Democratic Party, he previously served as a U.S. Senator for Missouri from 1935 to 45, and briefly as the 34th Vice President in 1945 under Franklin D. Roosevelt. Assuming the presidency after Roosevelt's death, Truman implemented the Marshall Plan in the wake of World War II to rebuild the economy of Western Europe and establish both the Truman Doctrine and NATO to contain the expansion of Soviet communism. He proposed numerous liberal domestic reforms, but few were enacted by the conservative coalition that dominated the Congress. Truman was raised in Independence, Missouri, and during World War I fought in France as a captain in the field artillery. Returning home, he opened a haberdashery in Kansas City, Missouri, and was elected as a judge of Jackson County in 1922. Truman was elected to the United States Senate from Missouri in 1934. Then between 1940 and 44, he gained national prominence as chairman of the Truman Committee, which was aimed at reducing waste and inefficiency in wartime contracts. Truman was elected vice president in the 1944 presidential election and assumed the presidency upon Roosevelt's death. It was only when Truman assumed the presidency that he was informed about the ongoing Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb. Truman authorized the first and only use of nuclear weapons in war against the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, leading to Japan's surrender and the end of the World War. Truman's administration engaged in the internationalist foreign policy by working closely with Britain. Truman staunchly denounced isolationism. He energized the New Deal coalition during the 1948 presidential election, and despite a divided Democratic Party, and won a surprise victory against the Republican Party nominee Thomas E. Dewey that secured his own presidential term. Truman presided over the onset of the Cold War in 1947. He oversaw the Berlin airlift and the Marshall Plan in 1948. With the involvement of the US in the Korean War of 50 to 53, South Korea repelled the invasion by North Korea. Domestically, the post-war economic challenges such as strikes and inflation created a mixed reaction over the effectiveness of his administration. In 1948, he proposed Congress pass comprehensive civil rights legislation, but Congress refused, so Truman issued an executive order 9980 and Executive Order 9981, which prohibited discrimination in federal agencies and desegregated the U.S. armed forces. Investigations revealed corruption in parts of the Truman administration, and this became a major campaign issue in the 52 presidential election, although they did not implicate Truman himself. He was eligible for re-election in 52, but with poor polling, he chose not to run. Truman went into a retirement, marked by the founding of his presidential library and the publication of his memoirs. It was long thought that his retirement years were financially difficult for Truman, resulting in Congress establishing a pension for former presidents, but evidence eventually emerged that he amassed considerable wealth, some of it while still president. When he left office, Truman's administration was heavily criticized, though critical reassessment of his presidency has improved his reputation among historians and the general population.